Welcome to this explainer, everyone. Whether you're officially sitting at an intro to business course right now, or you're just genuinely curious about how the commercial world operates today, you are exactly where you need to be. We're going to dive deep into how modern businesses actually create real value. But right off the bat, I need you to do me a favor. Forget about the flashy commercials you saw during the game last night and totally ignore those sponsored posts clogging up your feed. Because honestly, true marketing, it goes so much deeper than just that surface level stuff. To really get it, let's look at this famous quote from management legend Peter Drucker. He said, "The aim of marketing is to know and understand the customer so well the product or service fits him and sells itself." I love this because it completely flips the script on what most people assume marketing is. This quote right here, this is our foundational blueprint. Marketing is all about deep, genuine understanding of your customer. It's absolutely not about aggressive selling or, trying to force a bad product onto people. If you actually nail the marketing, the selling part, it basically takes care of itself. Okay, so here's our roadmap for today's explainer. Think of this as your syllabus for the session. We've got 5 key areas. First, what marketing really is. Second, the marketing mix. Third, the customer journey. Fourth, retention and modern trends. And finally, number 5, metrics that matter. Let's jump right into section 1, what marketing really is. It is so easy to walk into a business class with some pretty strong preconceived notions. So let's just bust a massive myth right out of the gate. The myth? That marketing is literally just advertising and selling. No way. The reality is that marketing is the process of identifying, anticipating, and satisfying customer needs profitably. At its core, it's fundamentally about problem solving and value creation. Advertising is honestly just one tiny little branch on a massive tree, and the root of that tree? Figuring out what people actually need. So how do we actually build that value? Well, there are a few core pillars at play here. First up, you have to research and actually listen to understand those needs. Then, you've got to design products that solve those real problems far better than any alternative out there. It's about treating your customers as partners, right? Not just treating them like a quick, one-off transaction. You also need to clearly define how your brand stands apart from the crowd. And perhaps most importantly, you have to earn trust through consistency, transparency, and actual follow-through. Long-term relationships, that's the real name of the game here.
Moving right along, let's get into section 2, the marketing mix. Now, this is a framework you are going to hear constantly in any business course. The 4 Ps: product, price, place, and promotion. These are essentially your toolkit. They're the 4 interdependent levers that marketers control to deliver value to the customer. And I really want to emphasize that word, interdependent. It's a completely interconnected system. If you pull one lever, you're automatically forced to adjust the others. Think about it. You can't offer this incredible, premium, high-luxury product and then slap a bargain bin price tag on it. It just doesn't make sense, and it's definitely going to confuse your customer.
Let's look at how these levers actually function in the real world. First, the product. What is satisfying the need? This includes the design, the quality, even the packaging. Imagine Apple, for instance. That sleek, minimalist box is literally part of the product's value. Second, price. What does the customer actually pay? Are you using a skimming strategy with a super high price at launch, or maybe a penetration pricing strategy with a low entry cost just to gobble up market share? Imagine if your favorite streaming service suddenly hikes its prices. Well, they've got to justify that by adding way more value over on the product lever, right? Third is place. Where do customers get it? Retail, e-commerce, or maybe direct-to-consumer. And finally, promotion. How exactly are you communicating that value? This is where your ads, PR, and influencers step in. So you see, it's a constant, delicate balancing act.
All right, section 3, the customer journey.
Every single customer goes on a very specific journey, from being a total stranger to, ideally, a massive advocate for your brand. Step 1 is awareness. They realize they have a problem and they discover you. Step 2 is interest. They're digging in, doing the research, and comparing you to your competitors. Step 3 is the purchase, the actual decision to hand over their money. But hey, look closely at steps 4 and 5, experience and loyalty. I literally cannot emphasize this strongly enough. A marketer's job absolutely does not end at the checkout screen. What happens post-purchase entirely dictates whether that customer ever comes back again. Which brings us perfectly to section 4, retention and modern trends.
Look at this number, 5x. This is a massive, cold, hard economic reality in the business world. It costs roughly 5 times more to acquire a brand new customer than it does to keep an existing one. That's huge.
If you're constantly obsessing over getting new people to the checkout line, but you completely ignore the folks who have already bought from you, you're basically just burning cash. Retention always beats acquisition. Always. So the obvious question is, how do we actually retain them? Well, first and foremost, you absolutely must deliver on your core promise with a high-quality product. Honestly, if the product is garbage, nothing else matters. Assuming the product is great, you then use feedback systems, like surveys and NPS, which we'll define in just a sec, so your customers genuinely feel heard. You also need to provide really proactive after-sales support. And yeah, you can definitely implement loyalty programs to reward repeat behavior. But keep in mind, a shiny point system or a flashy gold tier status, that only works if the underlying product experience is actually solid in the first place. To pull all of this off today, we have to look at where modern consumer attention actually lives. We've really moved past those old-school traditional outbound sales tactics. Nowadays, it's all about social media and influencer marketing because you have to reach audiences right where they're already spending hours of their day. It's about SEO, search engine optimization, so you earn that crucial organic visibility on Google. It's content marketing, meaning you build trust by teaching or entertaining your audience through blogs, videos, and podcasts. And it is incredibly data-driven. We're talking analytics and A/B testing to make sure we target the exact right person with the exact right message at the absolute perfect time.
And that brings us to our final stop, Section 5, Metrics That Matter.
Okay, if you're taking notes for your exam, get your pens ready. These are the critical acronyms every business student needs to memorize, not just for the test, but for your entire future career. First up, CAC, or Customer Acquisition Cost. That is your total marketing spend divided by the number of new customers you acquired. A lower CAC means way more efficient growth. Next, CLV, Customer Lifetime Value. This is the total amount of revenue a customer brings in over your entire relationship with them. Then we have conversion rate, simply the percentage of prospects who actually take the action you want them to take, like buying a product or signing up for a newsletter. And finally, NPS, the Net Promoter Score. This basically asks, hey, on a scale of 0 to 10, how likely are you to recommend us to a friend? It is the ultimate leading indicator for word-of-mouth growth and brand retention.
So how do we actually put those metrics together in the real world? Well, here is the absolute golden rule of healthy business growth. Your customer lifetime value, your CLV, should be at least 3 times your customer acquisition cost, your CAC. Seriously, lock this in your brain. This specific 3-to-1 ratio is an essential formula for evaluating whether a business is truly healthy. To put it simply, if it costs you $10 to acquire a new customer, they need to spend at least $30 with you over their lifetime in order for your business model to really thrive and scale. Wow, okay, we have covered a ton of ground in this explainer today. But to really cement how all this works, I've got a challenge for you. Think of a brand that you bought something from recently. I want you to mentally walk through your own personal customer journey with them. Where in those 5 stages did they absolutely win you over, and where did they almost lose you? Keep that marketer's perspective in mind the very next time you hit checkout. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this explainer, and as always, keep learning.